day, then the day 2 entirely, and day 3 half of the day. So if the epidemiological situation is favorable, we are planning to have 3-4 organizers, 3-4 experts, and some 15-20 reindeer herders and members of their families. So in total, we are planning to have some 30 people. So if we are going to have delegations from Norway and Finland, then we will need to have interpreters. So the question is whether we are going to take them from Yakutsk or find someone in Chersky. Of course, funding of the workshop is an issue. So the Ministry of the Arctic has given a grant to one of the communities for 200,000 rubles, which is going to cover some transport expenses. It depends on how many people are going to travel from Yakutsk. So is it going to be 3 or 4 people from Yakutsk, and also our partners from Norway and Finland? As for accommodation in Chersky people in the Arctic College, and in Kolymsk in families. So there are going to be travel expenses. So we need to travel from Chersky to Kolymsk 200 kilometers. So we need 4 or 5 snowmobiles. And Nenen community is going to cover 2 snowmobiles and food, meals. So also on day 1 we will be in the Arctic College, and we are planning to have a 3-hour workshop with students, maybe 3 or 4 hours. So we are thinking about 2 or 3 experts. So I think from the Arctic Research Center. So maybe Anna Shishigina will help us. Maybe our experts from the Arctic Agricultural Technical University. Of course, it depends on funding. And so we need to develop recommendations. And also another question is how authorities are going to be involved. So these are the main issues. So if you have any questions, I am glad to answer them. So I think let's ask and answer questions later during the discussion period. Let's move along our schedule. Is Anders Oskal with us?
Maybe, Mikael, I could say a couple of words on behalf of Anders. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. Давайте так, хорошо. Нет, подождите, тогда сейчас несколько слов Свейн от имени Андерс Оскала скажет, а потом тогда Клементи на Калаярви презентацию.
Could you see my presentation now?
So now Svein is going to talk on behalf of Anders Oskal.
Could you see my presentation now?
Нет.
No, we cannot see it.
Just 2 seconds. Okay. Now you see.
Да, сейчас видно.
Yes, we see now.
And so I move you in the word of Anders Oskal. This is Alona Gerasimova, who is with us, and is Yelena Antipina. And it's in Chesky. It's a couple of years ago, and it's -50. It's very cold. I mean, when I was there, I'm amazed of the strength of the cold. But then you see here, this is something we had developed with a meteorologist in Yakutsk. You see the spring temperature in Chelsky from 1972 to today has increased dramatically, close to 7 degrees. So spring temperature means March, April, and May in average. So almost 7 degrees increase. This is effect of global warming. But on the other hand, this is Yelena Antipina, just a couple of years ago in Chesky. So that kind of warming means a lot of snow. Enormous amount of snow. And then, as Vladislav said, the burning, which now gets further and further north in summer. And how are reindeer herders able to adapt to this? Are we, this is the point thing, are we close to a tipping point for the economy? When you have this warming in winter with all the snow and all the burning in summer. So in the history of, yes, with substantial change in climate and weather, rapid culture and social change, reindeer herders need to adapt to those Arctic changes. Adaptation, adaptation. So co-production of knowledge. This is also in Chesky. This is my students up in Chesky. How do you actually work together? This is here in Tromsø this summer. We had a very good summer. And reindeer herder Issa Turi, together with the PhD student Kia Hansen, producing knowledge together. This is from this summer work with reindeer herders in Norway. A small group, very small group of people together in this project. Very, very small group, not big meetings. And we like to test a method of co-production. And as Slava says, develop recommendations. How should we recommend anything as we have seen now in Chesky? How should we try to improve the economy when things are as they are, with the air temperature, with the snow and the fires? This is in Kautokeino. We had a huge amount of snow. This is snow where I'm living in Kautokeino. It's 1 meter of snow, extremely amount of snow, not so cold, and a reindeer was dying. So people had to feed reindeer. We had 5 helicopters flying all winter with food to reindeer. Is that the way to do it? In Norway, I don't think so in the future. We don't have the money to do it. This is the spring in Kautokeino this year, flooding. So mapping is an important part of this method. How do you make maps together with the scientists here and the reindeer herders? What kind of maps should we make? We need new tools for sharing. How could we share the knowledge in Chesky between the Yukagir, Aven, and Chukchi reindeer herders with the scientists. So here we have made maps, kind of very strange maps, but it's a way of sharing the knowledge. This is Katrina, she couldn't be with us today. It's sharing knowledge. This is most important thing. How to do this? 5 steps. This is in English, but okay, I try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First, we have to focus on the past. And this is difficult. What is the history of reindeer husbandry in Kolomai region? How do we could start to work with now, Slava. How do you make the timeline? Number of reindeer, herds of the structure of the herds, people, and economy. Focus on the past. And also, with the meteorologist on state, what is the history of the climate in Česky? 2, focus on today. Present. What's going on there today? Okay? So the history, the present, and then we will have, before the meeting in December, we have to make some scenarios. Idealistic future scenarios. What is the future air temperature, snow? And for example, what was the history of the fires 100 years ago? We know what it is today. What is it in the future? And then it's important that we identify some common ground. Okay, we are all interested in reindeer. So scientists and reindeer herders are interested in reindeer. That's important that we define, Slava, that we define a common ground to discuss. So it could be actually, the workshop is focused on the fires because that's so important for Sakaryakutia. And then we need an action planning. We need to make some that's what you call the recommendation, action planning. And then 3 days, maybe 2 days, morning and afternoon sessions. Start in the afternoon, focus on the past. What is the history of reindeer husbandry in Česky? What is the focus on today? Future scenarios, common ground between science and reindeer herders, because usually we will listen to Clemety. It's here in the Scandinavian countries, is a huge difference between reindeer herders' reality and scientific reality. And maybe if there is a need, we need that 3rd day in the morning to make an action plan. Okay, and that's how to be, as Slava said, together with the authorities of Sakaryakutia. So this is the plan. This is the method of co-production. But the whole idea is to include traditional knowledge. And Ingrid Anita said, in the language, what is the language of fires? Yukagir fire, the Yukagir language of forest fires, tundra fires, Aven fires. What is the Chukchi languages of the fires? Same thing with those snow conditions. I shouldn't move any further, Mishta. I'm just trying to follow up so we see what this project is about. Co-production of knowledge through 5 steps. Thank you.
Спасибо, Свейн. Мы двигаемся дальше.
Thank you, Svein. We are moving forward. And during our discussions, we are going to discuss the methods of this workshop and other issues. But now we are moving forward, and let's listen to Clemety Nakalajärvi's video greeting from Finland.
Dear all, good day for you all. I wish you all fruitful discussions and good collaboration on climate change issues. I will hopefully show also some video clips from Kilpisjärvi and Autjärvi workshops if we get the clips edited and subtitled in time. I'm very sorry that I couldn't participate the workshop live. I made this video on Friday. I'm currently in Anar. We have reindeer herders from Anar and worksh region here in workshop. As we all know, this summer and autumn has been full of challenges. Original plan was to organize one large workshop with reindeer herder participants and researchers from Finland and Norway. Current plan is a COVID-19 version. Borders have been opening and closing between Norway and Finland, and the world has moved, at least for a while, in Zoom or Skype mode. It is quite clear that we cannot organize the workshops with the reindeer herders via Zoom or Skype. We decided to have a small workshop in Finnish and travel to meet the reindeer herders either in the forest or meeting rooms. We tried to get as many seats represented as possible in the workshop. Workshops are videotaped so the material can be analyzed by the whole research team. I have had so far 2 workshops organized. Plan is to have total 5 to 6 workshops. Number of workshops depends on reindeer herders. Autumn is really busy time in reindeer herding, and we have to organize the workshops based on their schedule. For the success of the workshop, it's important that participants are selected carefully. We want that the reindeer herders that do reindeer work participate in the workshop. Other stakeholders, such as representatives of different organizations, are not invited. Most of the participants are men. Women are nowadays a minority in reindeer work in Finnish Sami. But in all the workshops we have been able to have also reindeer Sami women as participants. We try to have different age groups represented. I have been careful when inviting elders to COVID situation. So far we have had different age groups represented. Systematic criteria is important and creates scientific validity. When studying indigenous people, special research ethics have to be taken into consideration. We have followed the guideline of Finnish Sami Parliament. We have applied free, prior and informed consent. It is a voluntary procedure. Another ethical question is to respect the reindeer herders and their knowledge.
There is no sound.
When aim is to co-produce knowledge, reindeer herders have to be compensated by their time and knowledge. We give the participants a small fee, cover and for travel and provide meal and coffee.
So I think
and of course face masks as well. We have a consent form that all the participants have to fill in. Consent form has general information on the project. The participants have right to restrict the use of video and photo material outside the research team and right to restrict use of their knowledge outside this research project. Participants have also right to receive information on the results of the workshop. Aim of the whole Nordforsk project is to co-produce knowledge on climate change and climate adaptation. I have prepared general information for the participants on the themes and workshop aims, and I sent this information for the participant beforehand. All the participants can freely raise issues of concern and own experiences on the matter. My role is to be a moderator in the workshops. The workshops are open discussions. We have workshops organized in a way that different regions, such as mountain and forest areas, are represented. Different challenges and topics for discussion are likely to emerge. We also discuss on the collaboration with the researchers. Everyone has had direct and indirect collaboration with the researchers. Researchers come mainly outside Sami region and culture and are from many disciplines. We discuss on their experiences, expectations and challenges they have faced. We have also prepared a feedback questionnaire. It is voluntary. It has multiple choice questions and also possibility to write down own thoughts freely. It is 2 pages long and easy to fill. Here I have some views from the 2 workshops organized. Everyone said that their environment is changing rapidly. The changes have accelerated in the last decade. Participants expressed a straightforward message. They have faced a new challenge, climate change. Before they have not needed the academia, but this is changing. Climate adaptation needs new kind of understanding and collaboration. But the reindeer herders have to be treated as equals, not as a resource. In Sami project, we proposed, based on information received by the reindeer herders, that the Sami climate change panel should be created. Reindeer herders and academia would be equal members, and the organ would be independent. Workshop participants supported the idea. Following slides are from feedback forms from the workshops. Altogether we have had 9 participants. Nordforsk project implementation gained positive feedback. The theme was considered actual and important also for the reindeer herders. In Kiehtaruohtas region, a question of competing land use is very current. There are big mining companies looking for suitable places for extractions. All the reindeer people from Kiehtaruohtas fear for future and possible mines. It seems that there is a interest to collaborate with the academia, but on equal terms and only with the research projects that are ethical. All the participants are willing to collaborate with the academia, but on their own terms. They have to be involved from the start. This question had many options, one being that is not interested on collaboration with the academia. No one crossed this box. For future research project, this is a good news. But it's interesting that none of the participants felt that there is a need for consent from the Sami Parliament for research projects. It is enough that they decide by themselves. Participants of the workshops felt that time has to change and they are not willing to participate in any research project that has novices as researchers. Researchers have to understand Sami and reindeer culture before the research project. Reindeer herders do not want to be teachers for researchers. I will continue organizing the workshop this month, and after that we should have sufficient data for analysis. A report will be also done and sent to participants, Sami Parliament and Skoltsami Village Assembly. Thank you for your interest.
Мы благодарим Клементи Накайларви за его презентацию. Очень важные слова о том, что и оленеводы, и вообще традиционные знания коренных народов должны иметь равное положение с наукой и научными знаниями. Об этом мы постоянно говорим на разных международных площадках, и, к сожалению, очень часто бывает так, что во многих научных проектах оленеводы или представители коренных народов Севера, они представлены только как объекты исследований, и вот эти процедуры, каким образом наука должна работать с оленеводами, с коренными жителями, какие методы должны использовать, какие этические принципы должны соблюдаться. Вот это как раз и будет такими важными направлениями того проекта, который мы сегодня обсуждаем. Мы надеемся, что по итогам проекта мы сможем дать какие-то ответы на эти вопросы. Мы двигаем. Еще я хотел бы отметить, вот Клементи Накайларви, он тоже на самом деле оленевод, он работает постоянно оленеводом, но при этом он еще и политик среди саамов Финляндии. Он в свое время был президентом саамского парламента Финляндии. И я надеюсь, что вот это наше партнерство между Норвегией, Финляндией и Россией, оно будет дальше укрепляться, и мы
and it is going to get even better, and our project will help us to hear each other and to work on co-production of knowledge. So we are moving forward. And now I would like to give the floor, if we have a chance. We know that the communication in the Arctic is quite difficult. I would like to give the floor to Елена Antipina, the director of the Arctic College from Chersky. So can she get through? Can you hear me? Yes, Lena, please. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. So can you hear me?
Елена Егоровна, вы нас слышите? Да, мы вас видим, Елена Егоровна, но пока не слышим. Вам слово.
Уважаемые коллеги,
Good afternoon, dear colleagues.
не слышно?
Слышно, теперь слышно, говорите.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые коллеги, добрый
Dear
вечер.
colleagues, good evening.
В своем выступлении я бы хотела
So in my
рассказать об
presentation, I would
образовании
like to tell
оленеводов,
about the
которую ведет
education for reindeer
работу
herders.
по этому направлению ведет Арктический колледж
So
народов
about the activity
Севера
of the Arctic
в
College
оленеводческих районах Республики
in the
Саха-Якутия. С
reindeer
2015 года
communities.
наш колледж открыл образовательные точки в селе Тополинное
So in
Топольского района,
2015 we
подготовил 24
established
оленевода.
our
Это
points
молодые
in
оленеводы,
Topoline.
работающие в
So
оленеводстве
we
и
trained
учащиеся
24
школ после
reindeer
9
herders.
класса.
So we admitted children
Также в селе
from the
Иенгра
9th
Нернгринского
grade and
района,
also in
в
the
селе
village
Улахан-Чистай
of
Момского района.
Иенгра
И
in
второй год
Нернгри and
проходит
Улахан-Чистай
профессиональное
village
обучение
in
в
Moma
Оленёкском
region.
районе,
And
в
also we have
поселке Оленёк.
started
Таким
training
образом,
in
нами
Оленёкский
подготовлено
region.
около
So
100
we
оленеводов,
have
оленеводческих
trained
хозяйств.
like this
Э,
about 100 reindeer
Обучение ведут
herders.
мастера
So
производственного
the
обучения на
education, the
местах,
training
с
is
которыми
done
колледж
by
заключает договор,
reindeer herders
принимая на работу
themselves.
на
So
10 месяцев.
they
Таким
are
образом, занятия ведутся с
contracted
учетом
for 10
особенностей
months.
оленеводства.
So
Мы все знаем о том,
the
что
classes
есть
there, the
несколько
training
видов
there
оленеводства.
is
По месту нахождения это горно-таежное, таежное, тундровое. Таким образом, мы,
locally
учитывая
oriented.
особенности
So because we
оленеводства,
have different types of reindeer
обучаем
husbandry,
наших
reindeer
студентов,
husbandry in
обучающихся
tundra
в
and
нашем
reindeer husbandry in the
колледже.
taiga
Есть
forest
проекты
region.
в дальнейшем обучить
So we have
также и в других
another
хозяйствах.
projects
Это
to
в
train reindeer
Ивено-Бытантайском
herders in
районе,
other
Устьянском
regions of the
районе. Это
republic, in
большие
Evena-Butantai,
оленеводческие
in Ustyansky
районы,
districts of
где
the
мы могли бы
republic,
еще
where
охватить
there are lots of
обучением
reindeer
оленеводов.
herders.
Действительно, я бы хотела сказать о том, что изменение климата – это один
So
из важных,
indeed,
наверное,
the climate change
направлений,
is one
о
of the
котором
important
мы
challenges
могли
of
бы
our
говорить
time,
в
and
декабре здесь
this
у
is
нас,
the
в
topic for
Черском.
our discussion
Я
in
просто хочу
December here
сказать о
in
том, что
Chersky.
20 октября мы планируем
On October
принять
20,
участие
we are
в
planning to
проведении
take part
осенней корализации
in
общины
the
Первого ордена.
autumn
Но до среды,
correlation of
до будущей
reindeer.
среды температура здесь будет плюс 9, плюс 10. Такого, в общем-то,
But now
очень
the
давно
temperature
не
is
было.
+9,
То
+10.
есть это очень тепло. И я так думаю,
It's
что мы
very
не
warm.
сможем выехать в
So
оленеводческие
I'm afraid we won't be able
оленеводческие
to go
бригады
to reindeer
и
herds
помочь оленеводам
and help
провести
reindeer herders to
значит, корализацию.
take this,
Следующее,
to do
на
these
чем хотелось
activities.
бы остановиться, по мероприятию в декабре
As for
семинар
the
по
December
изменению
workshop
климата.
on climate change,
Как сказал Вячеслав Иванович
as
Шадрин, что семинар будет проходить
Vyacheslav told
в
us, the
Чешском,
workshop is
в
going to
нашем
take
колледже.
place in
Вторая часть
Chersky,
семинара будет проходить в селе
in our
Колымское,
college, and
куда мы
also
можем
in the
доехать
village
на,
of Kolymskoye,
на снегоходах через
where we can
тундру.
get by
Таким образом,
snowmobiles
проехать туда еще
through tundra.
не будет возможности, если будет тепло.
But again,
То есть
if it
я
is
даже
too warm,
как-то думаю, что,
we won't be
возможно,
able
это
to
тепло
cross
здесь
the
будет
tundra.
стоять еще, если не до конца октября.
So I think
Поэтому,
that
потому
it's
что
going to be warm
прогноз
until
на
late
месяц
October.
показывает очень
So
теплые
this is the
температуры.
forecast for the time
И,
being.
конечно, я надеюсь, что и Свен,
But I do hope
и
that
значит, Вячеслав
Svein and
Шадрин
Vyacheslav
приедут к нам, и
will
мы
come,
сможем поговорить
and
о
we
тех
will
проблемах,
be able
которые
to
сейчас
talk
стоят
about our
перед
problems,
оленеводами
about
нашего
challenges
района
our
и
reindeer herders
перед
face,
теми вызовами, в котором оказался сегодня наш район. Потому что действительно Свен сказал
because
о том,
indeed,
что
as
действительно на
Svein said,
Нижнеколымском районе перепады температуры очень
Nizhnekolymsky district is
высокие
the
и
area of
драматичные на
the
сегодняшний день.
very dramatic temperature
Вот об этом я хотела
fluctuations.
сказать. Спасибо большое за внимание.
So that's all I wanted to
большое.
tell you. Thank you.
Я бы хотел от имени всех
Thank you, Elena. On behalf of all the participants, I would like to thank you on your great activities in training specialists for reindeer husbandry, because the Arctic College is probably the only vocational school which trains reindeer herder mechanics.
Иван Павлович, это
We know that Ivan Yefimov is in Chersky now. He's deputy head on the Human Capital Development Agency, and along with the federal authorities, he is going to help you to promote further training of reindeer herders. And also we have experts from the Arctic Agricultural Technical University, and I hope that they are going to help us as well. Because yes, the lack of staff is one of the main problems of reindeer husbandry at the moment. And we can tell that actually the prospects, the future of reindeer husbandry depends on the availability of specialists. And your college is doing a great job. So I would like to just inform that some couple weeks ago, our ministry had a call for contest. So we have developed the procedure of funding young reindeer herders for building houses. So 11 reindeer herders from different Arctic districts are going to get funds for constructing or purchasing houses. So, well, it's maybe this is not a great number, but it's only a pilot project and it's going to expand. So we have one more speaker, and I would like to give the floor to our partner who has been with us for many years. This is the UNESCO chair of the Northeastern Federal University. And head of the chair, Mr. Anatoly Zhozhikov. Good evening, dear participants of the workshop. So the adaptation of humans to the Arctic and the necessity to study the traditional knowledge is of great interest in the world community. So to solve these issues, the UNESCO chair was established at our university. How humans adapt to the climate change and globalization. So Svein Mathiesen is our finding. So we have very good creative connections. He is a professor of our chair, and we have started our work on a wide range of research issues. And one of the projects we are working on is this co-production of knowledge. So our chair here processes meteorological data. Also, the questions of adaptations also include traditional knowledge in the field of foods and clothing and lifestyle. And we have another project on that. This is the innovations in the sphere of food. Also, we have a project on the revival of indigenous languages. So the aim is to develop GIS maps of indigenous people. So this is our joint project with Norway. And the largest project we are planning is the digitalization of the linguistic and cultural heritage of the indigenous peoples of the Arctic. So we have presented our project to the Arctic Council, and yesterday we received support from Norway, and soon we are going to defend our project in the Arctic Council. So if it is approved, then we are going to start really large-scale work in the Arctic. So some people from Finland and Canada also have got interested in our project. So our Norwegian colleagues who are here, they are also a part of this project. and our Finnish colleagues are going to join. Also, the UNESCO chair is a coordinator in the University of the Arctic, the adaptation of humans to the climate changes in the Arctic.
Сегодняшним семинаром на сфуре наши вопросы не заканчиваются в рамках сфуры.
Of course, during this Northern Sustainable Development Forum, we are participating in 2 other sections. On September 30, there will be a round table on adaptation of humans in the Arctic. So here from actually on September 29th, there will be a session on the preservation of indigenous languages under climate change and globalization. So everyone who is present here can also take part in 2 of our sessions. Thank you, Anatoly. So the agenda of the forum is really vast, and between the sessions today, tomorrow, and in the coming days, we are going to visit other sessions. So all the speakers have made their presentations. And before this workshop, before we start our discussion, I promised Svein that I'm going to give brief information on reindeer husbandry in our republic. So far, the Ministry of Agriculture is in charge of reindeer husbandry, but the Ministry for the Development in the Arctic also has authority on sustainable development of indigenous people. And reindeer husbandry is a traditional industry. So that's why in the frame of the ministerial cooperation, we are going to work. So our ministry is going to work on the new edition of the concept of sustainable development of indigenous people. And also today we are working on establishing a united informational system on indigenous people, so which will help us to work more effectively on tackling the questions arising in the frame of the existing legislation. In the morning, we had a plenary session on the ethnological expertise. So our republic is the only region where ethnological expert review is stipulated by the law. We have a regional law on ethnological expert review, which assumes the impact of any economic or industrial activity on ethnological situation and indigenous people. So it assumes the interaction between business and indigenous communities. So that's why our ministry is also in charge on holding ethnological expert reviews. As for reindeer husbandry, you know that there are 24 indigenous ethnic groups which are involved in reindeer husbandry. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, in our republic, there are 106 reindeer communities which as of May of 2019, they have owned some 160,000 heads. So historically,
во времена, так скажем, развитого социализма, когда в советские годы у нас
During the Soviet period, in the best times,
340 тысяч голов
the republic had
То есть самые такие
340,000. That was the maximum number
оленей в нашей
of
республике.
reindeer in the
Начались
republic.
вот эти турбулентные 90-е годы,
Then, during the
когда практически
turbulent
вся вот система
1990s,
поддержки
when the
регионального
system of the reindeer husbandry support
очень
collapsed,
сложные годы, 90-е годы,
those were very
существенно
difficult
сократилось
times,
поголовье
and
оленей
the
с 540
population
тысяч до
had
2010
dropped
где-то 139
dramatically to some
140 тысяч голов. Я вот сейчас точную дату не скажу, но примерно
139,
это
140,000
практически более
heads.
чем в 2,5 раза
So
поголовье оленей.
it
Начиная с
dropped
начала
by
2000-х годов
some
началось такое
55,
медленное, но
60%.
постепенное увеличение поголовья.
But starting from the early 2000s,
2010 года
there began a gradual
200
increase,
тысяч, более 200 тысяч.
and then
Но
the population reached 200,000 heads. But then, despite all the support provided in our republic, like every year we have more and more state support to reindeer herder communities, but now we are witnessing a decline in the starting from 2010. So now from 200,000 in 2010, we have 164,000 heads.
2019 года поголовье составляло 146 тысяч голов.
But in the beginning of 2019, we had 146,000.
64 457 это важенки и сырицы. Вот это я специально для свейна говорю, потому что свейн у нас
But I would like to say that some 64,000 are those. So this is for Swain, because I know Swain is interested in the structure of the herds.
На сегодняшний день у республики структура общего поголовья складывается таким образом. Вот. Мы знаем, что в нашей республике оленеводство
We know that reindeer husbandry has different types. We have tundra, we have mountain tundra and taiga forest reindeer husbandry types. So we have a differentiated approach. And so the state support is provided taking this into consideration. So depending on the size of herds, so on pasturing conditions and other factors.
Недаром мы в нашем проекте предлагаем, чтобы мы посмотрели как бы с разных
So
сторон
that's why
на
our
это. То есть
project
с точки зрения оленеводства, это
implies
Нижнеколымский
that
район,
we need to look at reindeer husbandry from different point of views. So, for example, tundra reindeer husbandry in Chersky area.
чтобы в проекте также
But we also would like the project to cover South Yakutia as well. So Iendra, in Nerengri region, Hatistır, in Aldan region, which are involved in taiga reindeer husbandry. They should also be a part of our project, because climate change affects the entire area of the Republic. And in South Yakutia, they also are witnessing climate changes, and also South Yakutia is experiencing extensive industrial exploration. So you can see the great industrial impact. And in Nizhny Kolymsky, in Lower Kolyma region, we actually looked at Anabar and other northern regions, but in Lower Kolyma region, we actually witnessed the sharpest change, climate change. So the change in the precipitation regime and the temperature increase, which influences the reindeer husbandry, and actually the sustainability of living. So it raises several issues with human safety, because people have to cross rivers with higher water level and thinner ice. So that's why, of course, we need to involve reindeer herders themselves, and scientists are to analyze all the scientific data and combine them with, in combining it with the traditional knowledge, we will get some new kind of knowledge which will help us to make effective decisions. So, and these recommendations, they must be addressed to the executive and legislative powers, and then they will be implemented in real life and will help to adapt to climatic and other changes in the Arctic. So we have some time left, and we have some time for discussion. So we have participants who haven't made any presentations, but maybe they have some questions. So please give them the floor. And let's talk about reindeer husbandry. Any additional comments or questions?
У меня будет вопрос нашим партнерам.
I have the question to our colleagues from the Arctic Agricultural Technical University. I see Yegor Alexeyev. Are they ready to become our partners in implementations of our project and developing recommendations as people from academia?
Yegor, can you hear us? So it's a question for you. But we can't hear you. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Maybe you haven't turned on your microphone. Yegor Alexeyev. I think we're having some technical problems for now with the Zoom.
Мы готовы участвовать в вашей мероприятии. Слышно, да?
Can you hear me now?
Алло. Слышно? Ага.
Yes, please.
Ну, готовы участвовать в всех ваших мероприятиях по изучению Арктики. Мы тоже по возможности своих возможности участвуем в научных разработках по изучению оленеводства, болезни оленей, изменению состава мяса, по изменению пастбищных угодий, изучаем по мере возможности. Если будут другие возможности, тоже будем везде участвовать.
If there is something, just let us know. We will be there. Thank you. Thank you. Vladimir Dadokhov, he's not here. Alena Gerasimova, Svetlana Avelova, maybe you have something to add? Alena?
Да, хотела сказать быстренько,
спасибо
большое за интересные выступления. Действительно, проект очень важный, и у нас село Енгра в Юнгринском районе Южной Якутии, здесь у нас есть оленеводы, есть свои сложности, конечно, связанные и с проблемой хищников, браконьерства, промышленного развития, здравоохранения оленеводов, но при этом у нас все равно есть молодежь, которая желает заниматься развиваться, и они работают в стадии и сохраняют поголовье. И в селе Йенгра проводятся разные проекты, которые намерены, предназначены для того, чтобы поддерживать оленеводов. Например, проект «Юный оленевод» — это проект совсем для школьников, ребятишек с 2015 года работает, и пропаганда является именно традиционные знания, пропаганда традиционных знаний от старейшин к молодежи. И вот этот вот проект, ну, действительно, у нас здесь тоже происходят климатические изменения, это видно. И оленеводы, как раз те, которые постоянно живут в природе, они видят, и у них есть свои глубокие знания об этих изменениях, свое понимание. И было бы действительно важно выработать вместе с научным сообществом какие-то рекомендации, которые помогут адаптироваться к этим изменениям, потому что изменений действительно очень много. Поэтому хочется сказать спасибо.
That's why I just want to thank you, and I would like to thank the leaders of the project for your deep concern and recognition of traditional knowledge of the reindeer herders. Thank you. Thank you, Alena. I also wanted to add that Alena Gerasimova is the member of the board of the World Reindeer Herders. And next year in March 2021 in Khanty-Mansiysk, there will be a regular 8th Congress of Reindeer Herding Peoples of the world. There were many congresses around the world, and now we have it back. The last one was in Jokkmokk in Sweden. I cannot hear the presenter. I still cannot hear the... Oh, I hear. Oil industry and the preservation of reindeer herding people. So I think Khanty-Mansiysk has a good experience in that domain. I think that based on the results of the implementation of our projects of co-production of knowledge, we will need to prepare maybe a separate session or a presentation on the results of these projects, and we should report before the Congress of World Reindeer Herders on the work that we're doing, maybe share our results and thoughts. I think reindeer herders around the world will be interested in that because it's a pilot project, and maybe in future we could implement similar projects in other regions and continue this work and studying the adaptation to dramatic change in the Arctic. Dear colleagues, if you have any questions, comments or suggestions, Svetlana, maybe you have something?
Добрый вечер. Можно задать
Good evening.
вопрос?
I would like to ask a question.
Меня зовут Винокурова Декабрина
My name is
Михайловна.
Dekabrina
Я работаю в
Vinokurova.
Институте
I work in the
психологии,
Institute of
социолог.
Psychology. I'm a
Может быть,
sociologist.
немножко не по теме будет
Maybe I'm a
вопрос,
little bit off the
и
topic,
Вячеслав Иванович немножко
and
коснулся этого.
Vyacheslav
Вот
touched
если
upon it
возникают
briefly.
какие-то споры,
If there are some conflicts
конфликты
or
между
disputes between
компаниями
the
и
companies
местным сообществом,
and
то есть
local communities,
оленеводством,
let's say reindeer
есть ли
herders,
на сегодняшний день
do we have examples
какие-то
today
разработанные механизмы?
of some
Спасибо.
tools or mechanisms of solving such disputes? Our republic in this domain is again the pioneering region in Russia. We're trying to develop different tools. First of all, there was a mechanism of ethnological expert review or evaluation to protect traditional economies. There is also a legal status, territory of traditional land use. They also allow to protect, to some extent, our territories. At least they can enforce those companies that come to our lands, to at least interact and have a dialogue with local communities. There are public structures, state structures. Besides, we have a special body responsible for traditional economies like reindeer herding, which is the Ministry of Agriculture. The coordinator is the Ministry for Arctic and Northern Affairs, represented by Mikhail here. They can deal with conflicts and disputes. And besides that, we have another institute, which is the Commissioner for the Rights of Northern Indigenous Peoples. Lena Ivanova is now the chair of this panel, and she's quite fast in reacting to different cases. We had a case in Nerungri, in Aldan, and we even had some visiting meetings that were addressing those conflicts. We understand that this is not enough. We live in one and the same legal space of Russian Federation. In the federal law, there are almost no such tools, at least less than in our republic. So many large companies, they appeal to the federal law. They say that we are complying with standards and we are undertaking very important projects for the state. But many of them still are willing to negotiate, and we are trying to solve these questions. I don't want to say that everything is very fine here. There are some issues. For example, in Kabiaysky district, in Alekminsky district, we have some little conflict zones, let's call them like that, but we are trying to tackle those issues. I will also add a few words. We also have the council at the head of the republic, a special council dealing with indigenous affairs. We can also appeal there. We have a State Ethnological Expert Review Commission, which is composed by 1/3 of indigenous representatives. It's another instrument that at least gives us a possibility to vocalize, word the concerns and problems that we have. And we are willing to improve our work. And this conference that we are holding and the conference on ethnological expert review, namely, they are to help us improve. And like Slava mentioned, the Sakha Republic is one of the pioneering regions, and we have a good experience of dealing with these issues at the highest level. I would like to give a few minutes to Svein Mathisen for a little summarization. So, Svein, if you have just a few words for the summary, to sum it up, and then we'll be finishing.
Thank you for a very interesting workshop. I will start where I were beginning. Could you look at those reindeer in the back here? That's a picture I took out of the helicopter 30 years ago in Verkhoyansky mountain. And what do you see? You see white reindeer. As a scientist out of the helicopter, I saw only white reindeer. If you move very close to the pictures, you see there's a lot of reindeer there. And when you talk about ethnographical expert review or impact assessment, or if you talk about planning recommendation for climate change in Chersky and in Iengra, we have to be able to see everything. We can't leave the knowledge behind. So I believe, as in Norway, in Sakha-Yakutia, all available knowledge has to be used to develop and preserve the reindeer husbandry in the future. We really have to make sure that we get all knowledge, because history has shown in the past that me, as a Western kind of scientist, has not been able to see and actually left the knowledge of the herders. So let's work together to try to see if this is one way further. We might even develop the methods even more, but I hope that by March, as Mikael said, in Hunter Massisk, we could report back to all world reindeer herders that we have been able to develop a way forward to include the reindeer herders' knowledge. So in future, there will be some reindeer husbandry in Cherski and Kolomai region. Practically, how we do it now, we have, because of the COVID, we have problems. And I think, Slava, you raised the alternatives very nicely. I miss you all, and I miss, after 30 years, this is the first time I haven't been in Sakaryakutia this year. And this is working. I really miss Sakaryakutia. And we have a problem, but for health-wise, technically traveling, that if I should go now to Moscow, I have to go through Turkey, you know, and I have to stay in Moscow for 2 weeks before traveling further to Yakutsk. Same thing going back home. So we have some technically problem with the medical issue, you know. So we have to start working a little bit how we should work with the preparation for December meeting, you know, because I think we also have to respect those indigenous communities receiving us from Europe coming in, you know. I really respect the whole situation of COVID. We should work together also in future. So by this word, I say thank you for a very, very nice seminar. The future is there. We have some tools to continue. We have some institutions like the UNESCO chair at NEFO. We have the International Center for Reindeer Husbandry in Norway. So let's work, and this media is working. So let's continue to work like this. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Svein.
Thank you very much, Svein. It was a good summary to our seminar. So at this positive note, we are coming to a completion. I would like to thank all the participants, all the audience, and especially the speakers who presented today. And I hope that, like Sven said, we will be able to use the existing tools to prepare everything in a good manner and then report at the World Congress. And in the end, I would like to congratulate all of you with many things. First of all, it's the start of the Northern Sustainable Development Forum. I would also like to congratulate you on the day of the statehood of the Sakha Republic, which is on the 27th of September every year. And it's a pleasure that today, at this high level, we are discussing the issues of sustainable development of the Arctic and those people who live and work there. I would like to thank the technical support for their work and for providing communication that we were able to hear everybody. I would like to thank the interpreters who allowed us to understand each other. So we're not stopping. We will continue to work. So thank you very much and goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Maktal Sakaryakutia. Happy birthday.
Раз, два, три, раз, два, три, раз, два, три, раз, два, три, 4, 5, 6. Раз, раз. Раз, два, три, раз, два, три. Раз, 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 два, три, раз, два, три, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Что? Нету?
Есть, но... Ладно, вот так поедем.
Пошел?